let's talk about something I'm banking on you being familiar with. Too many fucking thoughts. But in order to do so, you're gonna have to have faith. Most of you guys probably won't pick up what I'm putting down. Maybe I'll spell it out for you. I don't know. And remember, I flip things in my head if I haven't already said that. It does happen, so you've been warned. So I bet you've heard of this. Keep that in mind. And hopefully I come back to everything I want to rattle off. This is when I say black, 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 African, 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 African. Here's a book. It's barely a book. There's some information in here, mind you. But you are going to be told blah, blah, blah. Here it just says electric body and what have you. But it often rattles off this. The electric African genome. Pardon my disgusting fucking hands. And it will just keep doing this. African this, black this, blah, blah, blah. Mostly just saying African. Polarizing shit. Again, it's kind of neat. It's not fantastic. And you can Google a lot of it, but not all of it. I want you to think about that. Why do I want you to think about that? Because I want you to think about this. And I want you to think about what we need. When you think of what's coursing through our veins, this is something that should come up, doesn't come up. All of this shit relates to Seminar 8 in terms of the quote-unquote health basics, because I didn't come up with a more refined way of putting that. You hear people stress that you need to be alkaline in order to be healthy, which is true. But what they don't tell you, typically speaking, is blood is alkaline, and that's why you need to be alkaline, so that you are healthy. Blood technically is a bit over the bar. In other words, this is the bar. That's alkaline, crudely speaking. And take this directional bullshit with a grain of salt. I just drew an arrow pointing, to the right-hand path. Again, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not dishing up lesser magic on the moment. And everything below this, the 1 through the 6, would be acidic, typically speaking. Picked up some of this. This jazz is very alkaline. It's above 7 is my point, which would be the bar of alkaline. Just so you know. Or at least this is. Who knows? Maybe whoever made this fucked something up. You never know. But if it was pure matcha tea, it would be alkaline. So when you're thinking of being alkaline and being healthy and being in balance, so to speak, it's funny how you got to be over the bar to be in balance. It's something else that doesn't come up. What was I just going to say? Oh, you'd be thinking of this. Keep in mind, it's a lowercase p and uppercase h. And I always forget what this one means, but this one means hydrogen, which is part of this jazz. You got hydrogen and you got oxygen. Atomism is a joke by and large. It's something that doesn't reflect reality, and there's no way of proving atoms exist because they don't. But if you look this jazz up, you're going to be told something. And if we consider this spectrum that I was poorly drawing up here, this being alkaline, if I spell it right, and this being acidic. You see how my mind works? I drew the C first, and I capitalized that. Who knows why? I don't fucking know. This would be hydrogen. Double check these things in case I flip them, but I'm pretty fucking confident that this is this, and that's that. Oxygen. Now, there's a spectrum involved in this spectrum, mind you. If you think in terms of bullshit atomism, they're going to attribute specifically this jazz here, having to do with the hydrogen, having to do with what we need, and having to do with this, which is the fucking flower of life. Now, it keeps to what tracks here, mind you, in that you got an 8 having to do with the alkaline, and you got a 1 having to do with the other side of this spectrum. These are things that would come up, but people don't, they're not cooking with fire. They're not thinking about this shit. At all. At all. Now, I told you guys you got to have faith for a reason. If any of you can figure out why that is, feel free to chime in. I'll throw you another bone. Me telling you that, showing you this diagram, this and what I just said relates to something else that I spoon-fed you guys that you do not find in books. People do not know. You are not supposed to know. And people you know, like, and love sure as shit do not know. And aren't going to know anytime soon unless somebody kicks down their door, grabs them by the ears, and screams at them in a fucking loop until they unconsciously memorize it. Because things aren't getting better, they're getting worse. This is just a sliver of things that I could point out having to do with how reality functions. And people aren't talking about this shit because people don't have a fucking clue what's going on. This should wow you. But people can watch this and not take anything away from it because they're not going to think about it. They're not going to work with it. Aspects of this reflect reality. Take the atomism shit with a grain of salt, mind you. Maybe 2 or 3 pinches of salt. Also, look up what this jazz means. I keep forgetting. I wanted to say... I don't have it. I shouldn't say it anyway because I'm probably wrong. And if I do, that might color how you think of it. The other way you should probably think about this jazz is this is dressed up as, in terms of atomism, mind you. And these days, this is stressed, polarizing positive vibes only. You still need both. You still need both. Why would I say that? I mean, some people don't have a left hand and a right hand. But typically speaking, most people are born with both. How do you travel places? Do you hop around on your right foot? It's a binary system. You and I are binary creatures. People are being convinced otherwise. It almost worked. It's just not how shit works. You gotta have both. You gotta have the night and the day, the man and the woman, the magnetism, electricity, the yin and the yang, cold and the hot, and the list goes on. Because that's what reflects reality. That's how things work. And striving to hit that middle ground, to have that balance, is what matters. To drive that point home in terms of quote-unquote health. One more time. Blood is more alkaline than the bar. It's above 7. That's why people are told that you need to be alkaline in order to be healthy. Should come up, doesn't come up. What the fuck do I know?